And welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. This one coming to you post-game on January 2nd after the Boston Bruins lose in New York, 2-1 to the New York Rangers. Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is presented by Fazenda Coffee. And Fazenda Coffee is the place to go, whether you are running a cafe or just looking for a great cup of coffee at home. Fazenda Coffee Roasters, they've got you covered. Check out the special Morning Brew blend crafted for Bruins fans and perfect for your morning brew for cafes, bakeries, and restaurants. Explore their wholesale program and serve the same quality coffee trusted by Boston's best. Visit fazendacoffee.com/morning brew to learn more. Check out the Clean Canteen Morning Brew Traveler and check out the Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor baseball hats, which are almost sold out, I'm told. They are
Love it.
They've gone well there. So thank you, folks, for your support. Razor, Happy New Year. Last time we'll say that. Glad to hear that you didn't even make midnight.
Nope.
Good stuff that night. I did. I had to pick up a young child, young because they're younger than me, but old enough to be out late. So that was it. But as we move into the new year, the Boston Bruins had an opportunity to start off 2025 with a great opportunity in New York, playing against a team that was 4-15 in their previous 19 coming in. And they played well, but they couldn't score. It's what it comes down to. Jonathan Quick was excellent. I liked how you said it, though, in the Nesson postgame, partner. There's no attaboys, or not that many attaboys that you can go to and use. It's about wins and losses, and this is a loss. The Bruins are now 1-3 after the holiday break.
Yeah, you can't go to the well twice. I was more than willing to give them the good job against Washington, and I thought they played well. I thought they did a bunch of good things, against a good hockey team. You could say the same thing tonight. They did do a bunch of good things. They had a couple of lapses in judgment that cost them, but there weren't many of them. There was a lot less tonight than we'd seen at different times in the year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't come out of two Eastern Conference games without points. You have to find a way. If they were 1-1, or if they had, what I mean by that is if they had lost two overtime games here in those two games, it would be a completely different feel. You just have to find a way to get points. You can't give up 2 points to these Eastern Conference teams, and they did that. So now it stings a whole lot more, despite not playing horribly. But again, that doesn't matter. It's the same as an 8-1 loss today.
Right. Because because you get nothing. Why can't they score? Why? I mean, this game, Jonathan Quick played great. He did. He played like he played last year a bit, but he played an awful lot like he did when he was, kind of running the roost in LA back in the 2012, 14, 15, 16 era in there, where he was one of the best. Did you like him as a goalie when he was at his prime? I know, very different style than a lot of guys. I've always liked it because of how athletic he is.
Yeah, and I played against him a lot. I played against him. Us in Vancouver played against him in the playoffs the 1 year, and so I've known, we have the same agent, so I've known Jonathan Quickie for a really long time, and his ability to compete and skate, his skating was and is still very close. He's still close to the top of the league, but it was elite, like beyond elite. His ability to get east-west, and that's when the game started when he came into the league, the game started going that way. And he just always a battler, always a guy that teammates loved, and didn't do anything too fancy, just always grinding.
Works his ass off. You're right. I just love how I actually feel like he's less acrobatic than he was for a couple of years. He had the heyday of acrobatic.
Yeah, he just can't do it now. Like and that'll be interesting to see how long Igor's out. He's got one game a week in him. Basically, that's what's in his body. So the Bruins certainly got the 1 week. Hopefully, whatever teams that. But anyways, Quickie's he's awesome, and he was awesome tonight because, again, he can compete. He understands, and this game, this is far from the biggest game he's ever played in his career.
No, you're right. Far from it. But for him, this was a big moment because, again, knowing that he's the guy, whether it's for 1 week, 2 weeks, who knows how long Shesterkin is out. But I also think knowing that he's competing against the Boston Bruins, this team in New York has been an absolute gong show, an absolute soap opera there for the last 20 games / 6 weeks or so. It's been an absolute mess. And he's a guy that I think is so proud that he didn't want to let that get away from him. He was going to show up. We talked before that, we're talking in the green room, like this is the game where if Jonathan Quick stood on his head, it's going to be trouble for the Bruins. And he did just that. We'll get to some of his saves in a minute, but when it's all said and done, so now after watching the Bruins the last couple of games, is there anything that us can say that why the Bruins are having such a hard time scoring goals right now?
Oh, I think it's their back end is a big part of it. They're one of the lowest scoring defense units. They don't have Hampus Lindholm. I've gone to it a little bit. I'm going to keep going to it. That he makes a lot happen for this team on the back end, and I just keep thinking about different opportunities over on the left side. Charlie McAvoy has to play 12 minutes in the third period tonight, and a lot of those minutes would have been played with Hampus Lindholm in this situation. He would move the puck. And so if it's not him, it's, Lowry's doing his best. Zadorov has a big shot. We know that, but they're not Hampus Lindholm. And I think that's starting to, the sooner he comes back, the better, because again, the back end needs to find ways to get points and get goals. The rest of the league's doing it.
Yeah. And up front, and did we talk this to death the first 6 weeks of the season, the Geekies, the Zakas, the Coils, who all had career years last year. I don't know if I would call any of them, Razor, what you would call pure natural goal scorers. And they all have offensive abilities. But we know that David Pastrnak is the true one and only pure offensive gifted goal scorer. Marchand, while he can put up points too, is such a worker, right? He is such a hard worker, such a determined, diligent player. But his game, again, has changed a bit. But would you call him a natural? He's a point producer, and throughout his career, we've seen him, elevate to elite level point producer. But would you call him a natural goal scorer? My point of saying this is that their offense comes from pure work. That's what it's coming. It has to come from pure work. And while you can work your ass off sometimes, when the instinct, like to shoot instead of passing too much, happens, right? That natural goal scoring instinct, I think we're starting to see that too.
Yeah, listen, that's going to kind of come and go right through the season, and and again, they're focusing on defense too, right? So yeah. They're not opening it up. They're not getting out on the rush because they have that center low all the time, and the wingers are low. So, they're not like, I don't know. I guess you go to like the elite guys. They're not Connor McDavid where you can just have a shift and score a goal. But they certainly should be scoring more than one a game.
Yeah, they're going to have to figure it out. I want to get to the game recap, and I will in a moment here. But forgive me if I've asked you this a few times already. We'll call it the third line, the Frederick line. Brazeau was good in this game. I'm looking at his numbers: 14 minutes, 12 seconds, 4 shots, 4 more attempts, 3 were blocked, 1 was a missed net. Again, he was all over that. He really was able to handle inside ice well. He had a couple of hits. I don't know. I mean, that line, Wallstrom started on the 4th line. He got bumped up to that line, and Koepke got pushed to the 4th line. Is it time? Are we at that time with Trent Frederick in the middle to shift him back to the left? And even if it's just for like one game or for the weekend, are we at the point where maybe Matt Poitras comes back up, given who they're playing? Razor, they're playing Toronto Maple Leafs, good team, very good team. We talked about how well they've been playing defensively. I don't know if they're a team that's going to beat you up, right? They're not one of those nasty teams. And then you've got the Islanders on Sunday. I mean, is it that time maybe for a situational call up I know that we've had good discussions about keeping Patra down there and letting him continue to succeed, etc. But I think we're more at that perhaps for a weekend call up to see if they can get it going. Put Freddie on the left, Brazo on the right, and go there.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think I haven't seen a lot of situational call ups from this group.
I'm with you. No, you're right.
So that's why I would say no is more just because we haven't seen it. But we also, he might, maybe he does, maybe with the fact that they are sticking with Coyle on the top 6 on the wing, then maybe that does call for that. But I guess, if I put a percent, it would be more, I would be on the lower percentile just because I haven't seen a lot of situational call-ups from this group. I haven't the salary cap issues that they want to deal with and don't want to put any more money on that throughout this, and also just allow Matt Patra not to come to Canada, not to have a bunch of questions, just continue to play his game down there and not have a spotlight on him. But it'll be interesting to see how long they go with the Frederick experiment at center. Like, again, I've talked about this. Like, I think they're trying to get everything out of him, but you also have to win at some point.
Yeah, Trent Frederick played 16:46 with 18 shifts in the game. Had 3 hits, 1 shot on goal. He was 3 wins, 6 losses in the faceoff circle. He hasn't scored for a while now. He hasn't put up a point since those 2 goals against Philly on December 7th. No points, no assists or anything either. So
it's a long month.
It's a long month, and centers are important. They puck possession, etc. Now you're on the road. So the matchups might not be favorable for Matt Patra, but on the other hand, I don't know, just something to think about and something to talk about there. Your only other option is to move. If you're not going to keep Coyle on Frederick in the middle, as you move Coyle back there. I don't think you're putting Kastelik as your third line center against Toronto. I don't think that would be ideal, but it'll be interesting to see. Just something I wanted to bring up and talk to you about there. All right, let's quickly go over the game here, as we like to do here on Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. The Boston Bruins go into New York, and they play well the first 9 minutes and about 40 seconds or so of this game, where they got pucks in, they got them deep, they worked hard, they get opportunities, quick to make some nice save, but then it's a defensive zone face-off that starts it off to the glove side, so the left wing side for the New York Rangers, okay? Right wing for the Bruins. But anyways, it's deep in the zone. They win the face-off to the Rangers. They lob the puck into the neutral zone, which is what they like to do. They're not afraid to do that at all, to get acceleration and get a breakout. Puck comes down the ice, but 2 defensemen, McAvoy and Zadorov, bump into each other. A stick is lost. There's kind of all chaos ensues. Puck goes all the way down to Swayman. Razor, I'll let you tell me what you think Swayman could have done there better. He ends up playing the puck to back up the strong side wall. Chris Kreider comes in, picks it up. It's right on his tape. Gets it down low. There's a play over to Riley Smith. Smith goes to the backhand to his right side. It gets underneath Jeremy Swayman, and then Mika Zibanejad. I mean, he had to literally push the puck maybe an inch over the goal line to make it 1-0 for the New York Rangers. Neutral zone conundrum, and then Swayman playing the puck. The neutral zone play, Zadorov and McAvoy crashing into each other, kind of starts to unravel things, but then I'll let you talk about what you saw with the Swayman moving of the puck there.
Yeah. With McAvoy not having a stick on top of it, it's the goalie. You're trying to move it up the strong wall. That's it. You're trying to move it up the wall as far as you can, relieve the pressure that way, and that's your instinct. Of course, when you look at the bird's eye view from behind, it's and I've done this. I remember 3 or 4 of the plays where it's like, oh, why don't I just backhand it into the corner, let everybody figure it out, let everybody get back into the zone. But of course, in that moment, everything's going 100 miles an hour, and and Swayman could have done that. He probably could have put it to Zadorov's corner or even put it to McAvoy, let him fight it out. Instead, he puts it past that layer of defense, and Kreider reads it the whole way. He goes up the wall. He starts in the middle and basically is just like a cornerback in football, just baiting Swayman to go there, and cuts it off. And that's a tough play when you have to go underneath the puck over on that side to rip it high. Swayman didn't get all of it. I don't know if I'm assuming he wanted to get it a little bit higher. I don't think he really saw a direct play there. He might have, but only his eyes would tell you that. But typically you want to get that one up a little bit higher, at least force the player to knock it down or take a little bit more time. And then the fire drill starts. So Swayman gets back to his net, makes a decent save, but can't corral the rebound, which he usually would have if his feet weren't moving, and then slides underneath them. So all in all, hindsight, you dump it back into your own corner, whether strong side or weak side. Even better, you get it, you pull it and bring it in behind the net. Like there, again, it's
okay. But freezing, it's not a real instinctual thing there. If only
because it's a penalty, right? You're going to get a delay game penalty in that situation.
Okay.
So no, that's you're never going to cover it. You always just want to play it hard. Just play it hard, get it out hard. And you always, if you gave him that puck 100 times out of 100 in the fleet tomorrow morning, he's going to rip them all off the glass easily. It's just a bad
like you tell a defenseman there, right?
Yeah.
You tell the defenseman to shoot the puck off the glass at the very least. Make it hard for the opponent to have to keep it in. Make him move for a little bit, but after that, it's kept in, and then it leads to that play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, and again, and next time or another time he'll do it differently, or he's done it differently 50 out of the last 52 times that's happened to him in his career.
So that's at 9:48. All right, so Zibanejad had 7th of the season. He hadn't scored in forever, but before that, the Bruins again some good opportunities. Half wall play in particular, a few times was a Geeky and Wallstrom. Wallstrom ripped on off the crossbar, but still they're down 1-0. Then just a few minutes later, a pinch in the left side by Mason Lohrei, just a couple of feet inside the blue line. He gets his backside, his butt against the wall, and the puck gets by him, and it's a 2-on-1. Hedl gets the puck up to Berard. Berard takes it. Brett Berard, who played his college hockey at Providence College, is a left shot. He's coming down the right side. He's streaking down. His puck's to the inside. He gets the shot off and smokes it upstairs past Jeremy Swayman on a 2-on-1. So the Bruins give up an odd man rush. Berard's 3rd goal of his rookie season in the NHL. Good shot, hard shot, from a good shooting angle too. This wasn't outside the dot type of shot, Razor.
No, what you mentioned it is the lefty down there. He's able to get the puck to the middle of the ice, which again is a shooting position, but Swayman has to respect the low blocker because that's typically where that lefty likes to go or has the advantage. So I'm sure he looked a little low blocker and then pulled it and held it up over the glove of Swayman. But you just can't give a 2-on-1 in that position if you're Mason Lohrei. You already gave one up earlier in the game. You're out there with the number 1 line. They're thinking offense first. The puck goes into the zone, but it's far from it's not even a 50-50 play. It's a 70-30 play that you go diving down the board for. And again, not only are you going down, you're getting your butt on the boards rather than your butt in the middle of the ice. You have no ability. It's just all around going to be a tough video for Mace, man, tomorrow.
Shots at the end of one, 8-8. And again, the score, those 2-0 in favor of the Rangers. Coming into the second period, the Bruins, we talked about intermission on Nesson. Don't get impatient. That we did find that they got a little impatient at times in this game, especially offensively. It's funny, they got impatient by passing up a couple of shots a few times. I remember the one time Marchand had the puck coming, off to the glove side of John Quick, and then he tried to go cross seam back to the other side to David Pastrnak instead of turning and perhaps taking it right to the net. There was another 2-on-1. It was Lindholm that tries to pass the puck over to Marchand. It skipped by his stick. I don't even know if Elias Lindholm even looked to shoot in that instant. I appreciate to try and make that cross pass, probably from about 40 feet out. But on the other hand, at the very least, try and get something on that has to be considered. But then it ends up being a goal by Elias Lindholm, his 7th of the season, as the Bruins put together Lindholm, Pastrnak, and Marchand. Good move for this period. You need your big guys to get going. And they did. They controlled the puck an awful lot, Razor. They did some good stuff there. Pastrnak ends up getting it behind the net. He works it off to his right. So he's coming around on his forehand, and he makes that beautiful, it's more than a cross crease. It's a cross zone pass almost over to Elias Lindholm, who got away from the check of Smith. And then in one motion, he smokes the puck upstairs past Jonathan Quick, who can't get over to his glove side, and makes it a 2-1 Bruins deficit.
And you thought they were right where they wanted to be at that point. You thought they were back in the game, but you really thought the way they were playing, the way they were controlling the offensive zone, that they get one, they're going to get 3 or 4. And it was just a great play by the top line, who played really well together. They loaded those guys up. Zach is working with something. He didn't take any face-offs tonight.
One face-off, yeah.
You take him away from David just to let David go, and he did a great job. Again, I thought they played really well, but again, not able to score. But that was a beautiful play and an unbelievable pass, like we've seen so often this season. Not a lot of goals from 88, but a ton of unbelievable passes, and that was another one tonight.
So the Bruins can't tie it up at the end of 2, but they outshoot the Rangers 13-12. And again, every time the Rangers got what was a decent chance, and there was a couple of them. Swayman made a big save when they were down 2-0 or at the end of one. A couple of nice ones in the second period as well. But it was almost like I'm not trying to make it sound like the Rangers did nothing, but the Rangers are not good in their own zone, and they don't break the puck out extremely well right now, Razor. And they got their chances based off Bruins mental lapses. Even when the Bruins were playing well, there was still a couple of things for the Rangers.
Yeah, it was. It really was. I was surprised how little the best players on the Rangers gave, and yeah, really surprising. They didn't have a lot of jump. They didn't have a lot anywhere other than Jonathan Quick and their ability to kind of just hang on.
Yeah. 13-12 again were the shots through 2. Going into the third period, you're thinking that the Bruins are going to at least tie this one up. It turns out that they don't. They play the big guns an awful lot in the third period. Razor already mentioned over 12 or basically 12 minutes for Charlie McAvoy in the third. The Pastrnak, Marchand, Lindholm, all these players played over 21 minutes in the game. Bruins can't tie it up. They do outshoot the Rangers 12-7 in the third period, but they cannot tie it up. Each team got one power play in the game, and they both went 0 for 1. If I remember correctly, and I never trust my memory anymore, neither team even had a power play shot on goal during their power. And there was, it was a short power play for the Rangers and the Bruins too, because Pastrnak took a high sticking penalty as well when he was on that one there. So, all right, the Bruins end up losing 2-1. We'll go over a couple of other things. We'll go over some of the game, some of the individual stuff. But first, let's mention our sponsors that help make this show possible. Besides Fazenda, this show is also brought to you by Graciano Construction, serving Boston and all the greater Metro West area, and even perhaps a little further outside of that, depending on what you got going. Doug Graciano is the contractor who will help you refresh and revitalize your space. Doug and his crew can and will do it all. The best part is they do it with pride and really phenomenal professionalism. They somehow make doing home projects less stressful and almost even enjoyable. They respect the customer and they make sure the customer is thrilled with the end result. Go to GracianoConstruction.com or call them at 508-330-7589 to discuss what you're looking to do. GracianoConstruction.com. And then Sparks Hockey. Sparks Hockey is helping make this show possible. You want to visit sparkshockey.com. Use the code BREW50, BRU50, to get 50 off. Sparks Hockey is just flat out the best at-home skate sharpener apparatus that you can use. Whether you're playing, your kids are playing, just go. Anybody's in your house playing, you're going to love this thing. You can keep them for years too. All you got to do, Razor, is replace the wheels when it's time. You get about 40 plus sharpenings full, and I'm talking big sharpenings, out of those wheels. Do you have a spark of the game, a spark moment? I mean, I'm going to assume I know what it is, but maybe I shouldn't assume. You got a spark moment of the game?
Yeah, it was the goal for sure. Just a great pass, and again, like we talked about the timing of it, I thought the Bruins were going to roll from that point on. So at that moment, it was a great Sparks moment. I felt like they were going to get going, just like I know my Sparks machine's going to be melting next week because of the outdoor rink usage that's coming. As cold as it gets outside, it's going to be they're going to be buzzing them every afternoon to be able to go to the real practices. So that was mine for the Lindholm goal because of the David pass, and there should have been more Sparks tonight.
If you are a Ranger fan, I know we're not talking to Ranger fans here, but I think you would say the spark of the game would be the save that Jonathan Quick made on Charlie McAvoy in the second period, where he came across and got the right toe, the bottom of the right pad on it. It was okay? Do you remember the first time that you did a splits as a goalie? Do you remember when you achieved that? And how did
I could never go all the way down. You get the toe up split, I guess, back in the day. Mm-hmm. But no, I don't really remember.
Did you work on the splits?
Not really, no, because I didn't really have it. Like I didn't have the flexibility to do it, and I was so worried about just being injured. And it was just different game. You didn't really need to do it. Like Patty Waugh wasn't a split guy. Marty Brodeur didn't. Like these guys didn't really do the splits that I watched, so I didn't really.
You never went full. Who was the goalie? It wasn't Lemieux. Was Danny Lemieux from Slapshot? Who was the goalie in Youngblood? Remember him before the penalty shot, and he does like
I know, yeah, exactly. It was like Tretiak did it, and then the movies did it. That was like that. That's who did the splits.
Yeah, and Jonathan Quick able to.
And now, yes, to do now that. You need it.
Oh my God! Now I couldn't imagine. I would love to know how those guys work up to it. Is it through simply stretching? Is it just God-given ability because of their bodies? Is it just some of both? Can you teach the splits to somebody, or are they just able?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, my guy can do it very easily. He can, without gear on, he can go right down, no problem. But he works on it every day. He's doing that. But I think your body has to allow it as well. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to do with that.
Did you ever do yoga?
Yeah, we did hot yoga a lot in the summer just to sweat it out.
Yeah. That was I mean, yoga helps with that.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
There's no doubt that it helps with it. But I don't know if that is the thing that makes it happen. Anyways, interesting. Jonathan Quick's always been able to do it, and just fun to see, and definitely impressive. And I feel like I pull my groins plural, if that's possible, every time watching him do it. Looks like it's going to hurt. All right. So Razor, the Bruins are heading up to Toronto now, and they're going to be facing a Maple Leaf team on Saturday. And we plan to do a show, by the way, after the Toronto game. Because they're playing well, unlike a few weeks ago where I called, like after the Seattle game and before that, the Winnipeg game, especially the Seattle game, must win. I don't know if I have one of those in me again, a must win. But after giving up these two games without getting a point, despite playing well, aren't we really they got to figure out a way to get 3 out of 4 points this weekend against Toronto and the Islanders? I mean, I know that we're far away from the playoffs, but we're really not when you consider where the Bruins are. The Bruins, it just feels like, are going to be in that 5 through 8 battle the entire season. It just, I know a lot of shit can happen between now and then, but I don't know. My eyes just tell me that. So don't they got to win 3 out of 4 or earn 3 out of 4 this weekend?
I mean, it'd be nice. It's still, they're in a good spot too. Everybody else is 500. They're above 500. And, so it would be nice, but it's, more importantly, they need to find a way to score goals this weekend. I don't think you want to go a weekend with another 2 goals scored or 3 goals scored over this weekend. I think that's just as important, and the points will figure itself out. to your point, like you said, they're playing good hockey now. They're not going to lose 10 in a row playing the way they're playing right now. So just stick with it. You have to stick with it in this league, but a little urgency around the net, a little urgency of getting pucks to the net a little bit quicker, like Joe Sacco talked about after the game.
Couple of numbers that are worth mentioning here as we start wrapping this up. This morning brew with Jaffe and Razor up. The defenseman, as I said, Charlie McAvoy played just under 26 minutes, 3 shots on goal, 2 other attempts. He played, hit a couple of hits. He played 12 minutes in the third period. Brad Marchand, 22:46 in this one. Again, we saw the big boys load up. Elias Lindholm, 21:28. David Pastrnak, 21:23. So those guys really got going. Nikita Zadorov, 22:16. The other defensemen were in the 17, 18-minute mark or so, and what we would consider normal. Now, the fourth line didn't break 10 minutes. We're not used to seeing that. They've been playing 10, 11, sometimes 12 minutes, but none of Kastelik, Kepke, or Beecher broke 10 minutes. Kastelik was at 9:25. He went 5 for 5 in the faceoff circle. Oliver Wahlstrom, he starts out on the fourth line. He hits a post. He plays 12 minutes and 13 seconds in this game. I don't know. Again, the eye test isn't showing me, Razor, that I don't see him moving up in the lineup. I know they need to score goals. I just don't see him moving up in the lineup there because of, we'll call it, the 200-foot game, being hard on pucks, et cetera, in there. So I'm not sure where that's going to go. I got to imagine we'll have, wouldn't you think, one change up front in the lineup heading into Toronto?
I would expect them to go back to their fourth line and try and configure something, move Kastelik back. But yeah, they'll do something. I would imagine it'll be Wahlstrom out, McLaughlin in. That would be the most likeliest scenario. Again, Wahlstrom's 13 minutes tonight, had a chance, really good first period that probably, gives a little buzz in his step, but it's hard to play the way he likes to play or kind of wants to play in the bottom six. And that's the story of his career. That's the story of his NHL last 15 to 20 months. And he's not moving up. He's not kicking out one of the top 6. So we'll see.
Razor, you already mentioned it. Pavel Zacha didn't take any faceoffs. We talked about that heading into the third period, so we'll see what's up there. Meanwhile, Charlie Coyle, who hasn't been taking faceoffs, only played 14:05, but he ends up taking 10 faceoffs and went 8 for 10 in this game. So there's something all right, maybe he's getting past whatever was ailing him that was not allowing him to take faceoffs before. Anything else you want to get to, partner? I don't want to bring up Canada losing in the World Juniors. What a crazy game, although I understand that you're okay about it. And I know your kids are very happy about it.
Yeah, my man, he was all over it. He's been really enjoying the downfall of World Junior Canada. He's up there too, so God knows what he's saying the tomorrow morning when he gets to the rink. But yeah, the disappointing Canada is going to have a summit for the next 12 months to figure out what's going on and why USA is better at hockey than them.
Boy, was there a lot of shit with that team. You want to talk about New York Ranger
drama? The drama that's going to come out here the next week. The finger pointing will be banana land in Hockey Canada, and who picked who. And
it's already been that way, though, huh?
Exactly.
It's already been that way. Exactly. All right, so the Boston Bruins are now 20-16-4 after that game. Do I have that record right? Please tell me I do. Again, I'm looking at the note. No, yes, 20-16-4. I did have that right. They sit in third spot as we sit and record this episode in the Atlantic. Tampa, though, is playing San Jose tonight. Tampa has 6 games in hand. They'll have, including tonight's game. So who knows? They could tie the Bruins at that point, but the Ottawa Senators lost, so that helps the Bruins. But there's going to be a battle, man, all year. The next time Razor and I will speak with you is after Saturday's game in Toronto. That game is going to be about a 7:15 face-off, that game on Hockey Night in Canada, in addition to being on Nesson. All right, the Bruins lose 2-1 to the New York Rangers. Are now 1-3 since coming back from the Christmas break. They've played well the last 2 games, but close and playing well is not enough They need to turn things around. Saturday night in Toronto. Let's hope that they do it. In the meantime, enjoy an extra coffee with the day off in between.